Hi, we just returned from our 3-week RVing trip that went up to the Minnesota-Canadian border. We covered about 16 states in about 3 weeks. The first week we had beautiful weather and we got a chance to visit with our families in many different locations. We visited family in Georgia, in North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and a couple large gatherings in Ohio. We just had a great time in great weather. We left Ohio on our scheduled sightseeing tour going up through Michigan. And then the rain started and the fog, but it was wonderful anyway. Our first stop was at the Sleeping Bears Dunes National Seashore. As you can see, it's a beautiful location on Lake Michigan. Beautiful dunes that rise up to 400 feet. Here we're entering the park now on a scenic 7-mile loop that goes around the lakeshore in the dunes.
Look at this beautiful old covered bridge. I loved it.
It is beautiful. As we move along, we're going to stop at a couple overlooks and take a peek at the edge of Lake Michigan and move around to where you see the 400-foot dunes. The first stop, you'll see it's getting a little bit cloudy compared to what it has been. Not bad, but as we go to the next overlook, you'll see that the dunes are a little more cloudy. The cloud cover is covering the small dunes. Now we're going to move up to the larger dunes that you've seen in the picture here. Is about 400 feet from the lake all the way up to the top of the lookout. But it was really a nice ride through the scenic area. Really enjoyed that. Now we're coming up to the dunes, the big dunes. And we're there. Wow, fog.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. Who would have thought it had been so much fog? The fog had rolled in and you could not see the lake hardly at all, just the edge of it. Remember, now we're up about 400 feet above the lake. And you can see the lake down there, just barely can tell that it's at the edge of the lake. It's very steep too. That probably is about a 60-degree angle. They're coming up to the dunes on top. And you can see the people trying to climb up from the bottom of the dunes. There's a sign on top that says 2 hours. And here's a still. When I say 2 hours, 2 hours to climb up that dune. And the people there are trying. Now we make a stop at the place to pick up some asparagus. Fresh asparagus from the farm. Man, was it phenomenal, huh?
Yes, it was $2.50 a pound, but they'd already broken it and everything. So everything that you got, you were able to eat.
Where are we here?
I think we're in Traverse City here.
We're getting close. And then we stop there at Freshwater Grill, have some of the most awesome white fish we've ever had in our lives. It was just phenomenal.
Delicious.
Now we'll move on, and we're headed for Harbor Springs. And this is downtown Harbor Springs. You can see it's a very nice town. It's a reverse snowbird city. It's where the people in the South have summer homes and bring your big checkbook. It's very expensive and very nice. This is a little ride by the Lake Michigan, and going into near the marina in Harbor Springs. Well, we got to make it now. Head north, headed for the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And here is the big Mack Bridge, the Mackinac Straits we're going to cross. Did you like that?
No.
She didn't like that.
I don't like traveling across water a long distance.
We have to travel at 20 mile an hour with flashers on if you're in an RV or a truck because of the wind is pretty significant on top. That's Lake Huron to our right. And if you see to the left, that's Lake Michigan. We're going to cross here and end up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, called the UP. But it was a beautiful drive across this 5-mile long suspension bridge. It's the longest in the Western Hemisphere. And now we're in the UP, and that's the big Mack Bridge we crossed, and here's the northern edge of Lake Michigan. And we're going to be headed to our campground a little further down the road, paralleling Lake Michigan. This is one of your favorite drives here, I know that.
It was sure pretty. It just looks like the ocean, even though it isn't.
Yeah, it was really nice. Now look at our campsite coming up. We're parked on the actual northern part of Lake Michigan. And there's our campsite. And of course Zara's got to sample the water. She's a little fearful of this big lake, but she did okay. Now we're headed on from our campsite the next morning, headed into to Wisconsin, still paralleling the Lake Michigan.
I wish I would have gotten a lot of shots of all the blue spruce that was in northern, before we got up into the UP and just northern Michigan. The blue spruce were gorgeous.
Now we're coming into Door County in Wisconsin. Door County is just phenomenal, except the rain got us, and it rained and it rained. But not as we entered Door County. So we didn't get a lot of films, but we got what we got. Here we're coming into Egg Harbor, and there's where we shopped and got our meats.
Very, very unique little area.
Really enjoyed Door County, but we didn't get a lot of film because it started raining as soon as we got there. The next morning, here we are going to breakfast at the White Gull Inn. You can tell Zara is not very happy as she's left in the RV. And here Mary Ellen is in front of the White Gull Inn and beautiful flowers.
Yes, it had some of the most beautiful peonies, and also later on you'll see poppies. I had to send pictures to my granddaughter. They're her favorites.
And there's breakfast. You can tell that it was pretty fantastic. It was French toast and red cherries.
Well, it was stuffed French toast.
Yes, stuffed.
With cream cheese.
Now it's later that evening. We're headed through Ephraim to go to the old post office. And here's what we're experiencing that afternoon in the rain on Lake Michigan. Kind of gray, huh? Here's the old post office that we're going to go have the fish boil.
Didn't sound too good to me, but I was wrong.
It's a pretty traditional thing for there. And how they do it's kind of amazing, but here's some excerpts from how he cooks the fish and then it boils it over to get all the fat out at the very end right here. And the meal was really, really good. We enjoyed it.
The next morning, we went into the dairy country and we visited Marika Gouda dairy farm, and she has a store there. She makes the most wonderful, wonderful Gouda cheeses of all different flavors. And she also has a restaurant up on the top. And so we got to sample a lot of the cheese down below, and then we had this wonderful, delicious meal. I can't explain how good it was. And outside they even had a play area for the kids. And then Danny, he went up and filmed all of the procedure that they go to of milking the cows, who are treated wonderfully. It was so clean inside this dairy.
You could almost eat off the floors.
It was wonderful. And as we go on, you'll see here, these are like little igloo type enclosures that they keep the little cows in. And it was so nice.
It would be calves, right?
Calves, that's right.
Yeah, okay. Now we're coming into the city of Duluth, Minnesota, headed up to Lake Superior. We cross over into Minnesota, and we're going to go up the great scenic road that's by Lake Superior. This is downtown Duluth. Here's our campsite. We're located right directly on Lake Superior. But as you can tell, it's not a very nice day, but that's our view from back of our camper across the lake, in which we dealt with fog and rain every day. We were socked in there for 2 days, but we had a couple spurts of some sunshine. Here is the Split Rock Lighthouse on Lake Superior. You can see the fog that's really constant on the lake, and all you hear is foghorns all day long and night time from the ships going across the lake.
They sound so good.
It was cool to hear them blowing at night. But this lighthouse has its own foghorns, you can see there. It's a pretty amazing place. Beautiful lighthouse and beautiful homes for the lighthouse keepers to stay in. And there's our rain, of course. Rain, rain, rain. We're headed back south to our campsite for the night. And we dealt with this every day. Here's the next morning. What a difference that makes. Going along Lake Superior, headed back south to Minneapolis. Had some nice shots there before it started raining again on us. But it was a nice ride along the lake as we head into Duluth and back down to Minneapolis. Now we're on the Great River Road. We're paralleling the Mississippi River the old way, following the old highways that parallel the river. It was such a beautiful sight to watch as you go from river to town to river to town. Some of the old towns you're seeing. And we really enjoyed the ride. And we were switching between Minnesota and Wisconsin as we crossed back and forth on the river.
You never were sure where you were.
Yeah.
What state?
I think this here is Minnesota, and there's the lake we're on, big lake. You'll see the barges working its way south on Lake Pippin. And we're going to stop down just short of here in a few minutes to have a quick bite to eat. We'll before we get there, and we'll have to see a little more fog, a little more rain as it goes and comes on us. But there are some areas where it's real nice, but you can constantly see the cloud cover we're dealing with. I think we're coming into town now where we're going to stop for lunch. But it's interesting to see these old towns on this old river road. And I highly recommend this route for anybody who wants to do a scenic route. It's just south of Minneapolis and follows the river. Now we're crossing back over again. I'm not sure where we are. We're getting close to Wisconsin again, but you can't tell the difference between Wisconsin and Minnesota. Of course, more rain, more rain, more rain.
I loved Wisconsin, every part that we were in, and we were over a lot of it. And I think the part of Minnesota I liked best was the part that was adjacent to Wisconsin, right on the river area.
Now here's the Twin Peak Mountains, that kind of like big hills, whatever, in Minnesota. All right, here we are stopping for lunch at famous Slippery's, where the old men movie, or old man,
Grumpy Old Men.
Grumpy Old Man,
with Watermouth Allen, Jack Lemmon, and Anne Margaret.
And of course now we're on the patio having a lunch, a quick hamburger and iced tea. Now we're on the road again, and we are just facing rain after rain, on and off. We cross over into Wisconsin now, and then we continue south, but the rest of it's rainy, so we didn't record very much. As you can tell, Zara's had enough of the rain. She's saying, what in the world? When is this ever going to stop? Well, that's the end of our video. It's very short because we didn't get a lot of film because of the rain. We apologize about that, but hopefully you got enough to see what we did, what we enjoyed. And we will be doing another trip in October. We're going up to Gatlinburg area, Pigeon Forge, to enjoy the fall season of color. And then also I'll be doing a backpacking trip in August to Yellowstone, so stay tuned. But thanks for riding along with us, and have a phenomenal day. But until then,
Happy trails to everyone.